Could a voice from the past rewrite everything we thought we knew? Just 5 minutes ago, a never-before-heard recording of the late Kim Sae-ron surfaced her final words, raw and trembling, captured moments before everything fell apart, and one name echoed louder than any other: Kim Soo-hyun. What was said? Why now? And is this the crack in the mask of innocence? Join Red Carpet Revealed as we dive deep into a mystery that refuses to be silenced. In a world flooded with headlines and half-truths, sometimes the most chilling revelations come not from what is said, but from who is silenced. Just moments ago, a final recording believed to be the last known voice of the late actress, Kim Sae-ron, was leaked to the public, raw, emotional, and filled with haunting ambiguity. And at the center of this storm stands Kim Soo-hyun, a man once romantically linked to her, now facing the shadow of collective suspicion. But as the media circus continues to spotlight his name, another figure slips through the cracks, untouched, unchallenged, and almost entirely unmentioned. The New York husband, the final voice. A whisper from the abyss. The recording is less than 2 minutes long, but it tears through the heart like a dagger. Kim Sae-ron's voice, fragile and tremulous, speaks of isolation, fear and betrayal. She mentions no names explicitly, but the tone is unmistakably desperate, as if every word were being dragged out of her soul. I tried to make it work, but he just wouldn't stop. The yelling, the pushing, the threats. I'm tired. I don't know who to trust anymore. Speculation instantly spiraled online. Who was he? Was it Kim Soo-hyun, as some influencers had suggested in previous months? Or was there someone closer, someone more recent? Someone who had, until now, completely escaped scrutiny? The convenient villain. Kim Soo-hyun, under fire. In recent months, several YouTubers and online commentators had redirected public rage toward Kim Soo-hyun under the banner of restoring Kim Sae-ron's honor. They implied emotional manipulation, exploitative relationships, and even suggested his silence held the weight of guilt. But none of them asked the simplest, most glaring question. Why isn't anyone talking about the New York husband? The man. No one mentions who is the New York husband. According to investigative journalist Lee, this mysterious figure was with Kim Sae-ron until just 4 to 5 days before her death. Not an ex from years ago, not a past rumor. He was right there in her life, physically present and emotionally intertwined. In fact, he may have been the last person to see her alive. Even more disturbing, multiple sources confirm that Kim Sae-ron openly expressed distress over this man, citing obsession, verbal abuse, and physical violence. These were not whispers from the shadows. They were her own words shared with close friends and colleagues. And yet not a single one of the so-called truth seekers, particularly those aligned with controversial figures like Kim Se-wi of Garo Sero Institute, ever pointed a finger at this man. While selective justice, who gets blamed and who gets protected. In what appears to be a strategic deflection, the media and some influencers have consistently shielded the New York husband while amplifying accusations against Kim Soo-hyun, a man who had long since left Sae-ron's life. In fact, Lee notes that Kim Soo-hyun was the 5th in a string of confirmed past partners, placing him far back in her romantic timeline. For Kim Sae-ron, Lee stated, Kim Soo-hyun wasn't just an ex. He was the ex of an ex of an ex of an ex. So why drag his name through the mud while ignoring the man who shared her final days? The answer, according to industry insiders, may lie in media politics and personal agendas. Protecting certain interviewees while attacking others has long been a tactic of manipulation. And if one side of the story helps reinforce a narrative, inconvenient truths are buried, sometimes literally. A life in 2 acts. Fame, fall, and the cost of escape. Kim Sae-ron's life unfolded in 2 painful chapters. In the first, she was a child star who grew up on camera, the weight of her family's survival resting on her tiny shoulders. But after a DUI scandal ended her career almost overnight, she found herself working part-time jobs just to survive. In the second, she sought solace in a rushed and widely discouraged marriage to the New York husband, a man none of her closest friends trusted. She believed this move would free her from the crushing reality of post-fame poverty in Korea. Instead, it became another trap, perhaps even the final one. What the recording doesn't say screams loudest. While the last voice recording does not offer a direct accusation, it paints a devastating portrait of a woman cornered by fear and silence. And those truly seeking justice for Kim Sae-ron must ask, is targeting Kim Soo-hyun really about truth or about hiding someone far more dangerous? Let's be precise. According to multiple insiders interviewed by Red Carpet revealed, Kim Sae-ron was last seen in public just over a week before her passing, visibly distressed and thinner than ever. Days before that, neighbors reportedly heard loud arguments from her apartment in the middle of the night, and the man coming and going from her home. The same man she had introduced only months prior as her husband in the States. This was no rumor. This was documented in flight records, residence permits, and CCTV footage, now being cross-referenced by investigators. Sources confirm that he flew back to the US only 3 days before the discovery of Kim Sae-ron's lifeless body. And yet no questioning, no subpoenas, not even a public mention from those who claim to seek justice. Manufacturing a villain. The convenient blame game. The campaign against Kim Soo-hyun, by contrast, grew louder with every passing month. Without concrete evidence, narratives were crafted around dated photos, old interview snippets and hearsay, none of which placed him anywhere near Kim Sae-ron in the year leading to her death. Still, for certain YouTube channels, this was more than enough. It was convenient, familiar, profitable. Because blaming Kim Soo-hyun didn't threaten anyone powerful. Blaming Kim Soo-hyun didn't disrupt alliances, but turning the spotlight on the New York husband, that meant challenging someone protected. A shield of influence who protected him and why. A deeper look reveals that the New York husband wasn't just a mystery man. He had ties, direct ties to certain online broadcasters who had long supported and been supported by conservative media circles. He had been defended publicly by at least one outspoken commentator, Kim Se-wi, known for using his platform to selectively attack or defend based on personal allegiance. Lee Jin-ho, in a pointed monologue, asked the question no one else dared. Why did none of these people ever mention the one man Kim Sae-ron was with until the end? Why did they all look the other way? Because in this twisted ecosystem of social influence, truth bends to favor, and Kim Sae-ron's pain. It was twisted into a tool. The girl who carried too much too young. Behind the conspiracy, beyond the media warfare, lies the story of a girl who never had a chance to rest. Kim Sae-ron began working in entertainment at just 2 years old. By her teens, she was the family breadwinner. By her 20s, she was exhausted, burned out, and discarded after one public scandal. With no management, no support, and rising debts, she turned to what she thought would be a second chance. A man from across the ocean who promised love, stability, and escape. Instead, she found herself deeper in the shadows. She was like a candle trying to stay lit in a storm. One former colleague shared with Red Carpet revealed, but the wind just kept coming. The real guilt, not just one man, but a whole system. So, is Kim Soo-hyun guilty? Of what? Being her ex from years ago. Staying silent while the world hunted for someone to blame? Or is the guilt more subtle, more insidious, a collective guilt, a media that failed her, a society that judged first, listened never, a system that rewarded silence and punished vulnerability? In the end, the real tragedy of Kim Sae-ron's final days is not only that they were filled with fear and despair, it's that so many people knew and did nothing.